Melanie, please tell me this is all a bad joke. Tell me this test is a prank. Please, just tell me the truth. No, it's not a joke, there's gonna be another baby in our family. No, how so? Melanie, what are you thinking? How are we gonna support another kid? With 3 kids already in the family. We'll figure something out. If God gave us this chance, we can't miss it. God has already given us 3. That's more than enough. Why can't you understand that? We haven't gotten our kids back on their feet yet. And besides, it's too late for you to have a baby at 45. I didn't expect you to react this way. Where's the family support you told me about over 20 years ago? Not another word. Let me back up a little bit, please go away. The woman obediently, with tears in her eyes, left the kitchen. The man took a pack of cigarettes lying on the table. He took one out, went to the window. The fog settled in his head, and he calmly went to his wife and children. My darlings, let's hug and sit down to talk, the father said gravely. The whole family gathered amicably in the living room around a large table, on the surface of which stood a deep plate half filled with candy. Anthony, the head of the family, politely and quite calmly explained to the children that they were expecting another brother or sister. 20-year-old Agatha and 7-year-old Maria understood this, and there was no great surprise on their faces. But 5-year-old Ash asked a lot of questions to his parents for the rest of the day on the topic of pregnancy and the upcoming addition to their family. Anyway, Anthony had to accept the fact that there would be another child in their family. Melanie was impossible to convince to have an abortion. It would be even harder than climbing Everest without any equipment. The pregnancy, despite the late age for childbirth, was a success. 9 months later, Jacob was born. This is how the experienced parents decided to name their second son. Being parents of 4 children was very difficult. Anthony was ready for it, but Melanie only did what she did, that lived in her dreams and fantasies. Her husband spent days and nights at work. In addition, he was always looking for new ways to earn money to feed such a woman. By the way, they began to spend money twice as much as before Jacob was born. It was because of this in the family there were sometimes very strong quarrels and scandals, which once even almost turned into a fight. It was hardest to look at this picture of the eldest daughter, Agatha, who wanted big changes in the family. But she was far from those capricious ladies who want changes in life, but while lying on the couch and looking at the ceiling. In parallel with her studies, the girl worked part-time at the university. Then a packer at the factory on the night shift, then a dishwasher in a cafe. But all the same, money was catastrophically lacking. Agatha spent all her already small earnings on her family. She would pay her little sister's breakfast, or pay the bills. The girl didn't think about herself at all. The main thing for her was to finish her studies, to become a qualified linguist, and then somehow return to her family. Daughter, you should spend some time on yourself. All your peers do nothing but party in noisy groups. And you're always studying and working, Mom said. Mom, do you remember how I promised you as a child that when I grow up, you and Dad will no longer work and will not need anything? Of course I remember, but what do you mean? And that I am implementing step by step what I said then, Agatha always answered the same way. The girl successfully graduated from the university, but her bright future was not yet expected. Despite the fact that Agatha was fluent in 5 foreign languages, her resume was rejected by all companies. Because they needed experienced people who knew their business well. The family was also in poverty, with regular quarrels and lack of money. It was bad for the younger children of the family, because most of the money went to little Jacob. That's why Agatha turned out to be a second mom for her younger brother and sister. She constantly tried to make them look like their peers. It was not always successful, but the children were very grateful to their older sister for her help, and in the future they wanted to be like her, just as mature and determined. One day, while riding on the bus, Agatha was looking through the list of vacancies on a job search site on her phone and came across one recently published ad, which interested her greatly. She needed a caregiver for a young disabled man in a neighboring town. The salary was acceptable, and free room and board was included. The duties included caring for the man, keeping the house clean and tidy, and running personal errands for the mother who lived with the man. Not thinking long, the girl decided to send a short online resume, and in a couple of hours her phone rang. Agatha animatedly picked up the phone and heard, "Hello, my name is Veronica. You have responded to a vacancy for a caregiver. I have reviewed your resume. It suits both me and my Sam quite well." The girl's mood immediately lifted, and a few minutes later she was discussing with Veronica all the key nuances of the job. First of all, Agatha decided to share the news with her mother. And, walking into her room with a smile on her face, she immediately put her on notice. "Mom, I have good news. I think I found a new job. And they're offering me good money." "Good for you, daughter. I'm very happy for you. What kind of job? I'm sure you're a translator for some company." "No, I'm not. A nurse for a disabled man in a neighboring town." "What? What nurse? Are you out of your mind? Dashenka, why did you go to university for 5 years? For the sake of taking care of some invalid? They don't hire anyone without experience nowadays. And it's not easy to find a decent job for a linguist. But they offer good money. I'll send you money from every paycheck. You'd be better off scrubbing floors, honestly. At least it wouldn't be so disgusting." "Yeah. What have you accomplished in your life?" "I've never worked a day in my life. All the time my father provided for me," the daughter retorted angrily. "Don't you dare raise your voice at your mother. I have seen a lot of things in my life, and you are just beginning to grow up." Subsequent to this small argument, Agatha's persistence and tenacity won out. In the end, her mother declared, "Okay, daughter. This is your life, and you have the right to choose your path. If you want to go, go. Daddy and I will support you." And so Agatha rides the intercity bus with her bag on her lap and trying to chew an old bun she bought at home. But despite all the negative moments of the last 24 hours, the girl's mood was not bad. She had packed hastily. She took mostly the most important things with her. Yes, she didn't need a lot of things with her. It was already the middle of April. True, there was no rest from rainy weather, so she had to take a raincoat and an umbrella. Met the girl strictly. It was noticeable that she came not to visit, but to work. On the first day she met 30-year-old Sam. The man looked very young, no older than Agatha herself. His body was visibly muscular, from which we can conclude that, despite the fact that he was confined to a wheelchair, the man continued to exercise. His mother, Veronica, was a strict woman and was extremely meticulous about the young caregiver's duties. Work days began. Agatha was doing well with her duties. She cooked breakfast for Sam and then fed him, took him for regular walks, helped him bathe, cleaned his room and personal belongings. The work was difficult in some ways, but enjoyable at the same time. After all, in parallel with household chores, the girl could chat with Sam on various topics. Despite the disability, the man had a higher education. Except that he did not have time to work in his specialty. His businessman father left a large inheritance in the form of several apartments and large office space. Currently, all of this is rented out, and on this is a good income. The man's mother's health is not as good as it used to be. So they decided to hire a nurse to help both the son and the mother with household chores. The only favor that was not part of Agatha's duties was to read books before Sam went to bed. The girl did it voluntarily, at the man's request. It was no hardship for her to read to Sam. Every day before lunch, Agatha took Sam out to the small garden and stopped by the gazebo. One day the man said, "I wish spring would last forever. Yeah, I love this time of year too. So warm everything blooms, like a new season of life." "No, you misunderstand. I love spring because I met you. That's why you're the one I associate with this time of year." Dasha became uncomfortable at these words of his, but she was not confused and replied, "Thank you, Sam, it's a pleasure. Put your hand out to me." The girl obediently did so and felt Sam's lips touch her palm. And after the kiss, he plucked a rose and, after disarming it of its needles, made a small present of it to Agatha. At that moment the girl's face turned red and the level of awkwardness increased many times over. The next day Veronica said sharply to the young nurse, "Agatha, we need to have a serious talk. Don't get me wrong. I know exactly how Sam looks at you. You're looking at him, too. But do you need it? You're a young, smart, beautiful girl. You have your whole future ahead of you. I don't think Sam's ever gonna be able to go out again. I think it's time for you to leave before it's too late." After a long but productive conversation with Veronica, Agatha had well realized that she had become attached to Sam. At the same time, she didn't even have friendly feelings for him, but something stronger. Yes, Veronica, you're right. I'm sorry about what happened. I didn't mean to, really. Your son is a very attractive and good man. I don't think we should tell him about it. You can tell him yourself later. I'll pack my things tonight then, and leave early tomorrow morning. You're doing the right thing, Agatha. Thank you for everything." Tears came to both of their faces after those words. And then Veronica hugged Agatha tightly. Yes, as if she was her own daughter. The next day the girl and the landlady woke up early. They quietly drank tea in the kitchen, and then Sam's mom got ready to see the young girl off. As Agatha was about to leave the house, something on the doorstep made her turn around. It was Sam, sitting habitually, in his wheelchair. You could see in his eyes that he knew all about Agatha's departure. "Agatha, why didn't you say goodbye to me? You're just leaving like this. Leaving me like this." The girl couldn't contain her emotions and with tears in her eyes she threw her bag. After that she ran up to Sam and bent down and clung to him tightly. The man also hugged the girl very tightly. The two of them were crying. After a few minutes of silent embrace, Agatha said in a hoarse voice, "No, there's no way I'm leaving you." At that moment, there was a click in the girl's mind and she realized that she hadn't left in time. But if she had left, there would hardly have been any life changes waiting for her. And now she wants to build her future differently. Will you come with me to Germany for treatment? The doctors have guaranteed that there's a chance of my recovery. Please come with me, Sam begged. Of course I will, Agatha whispered. Veronica stopped interfering with her son's relationship with his caregiver. The main thing was that her son was happy, and this girl gave him hope for recovery. A month later, all three of them were in Germany. The surgery had been relatively successful. Sam could not fully stand on his own feet, but he was able to move around on crutches. The man could no longer wait to return